how would you describe, because your podcast is very conversational, it's very laid back, very casual. How would you
Yeah.
describe your conversational style?
Uh, my conversational style is very funny because I'm a thinker by nature. I'm not really a talker, and I had to kind of grow into becoming a talker. I'm an entertainer by nature, which I think has helped with me becoming a talker. But for the most part, I'm more reactive than I am someone who can really drive the conversation. Also, why I included the cast because I just knew I know myself, and driving an entire hour by myself, I just knew I wouldn't be effective because I don't have that or haven't had that. So you think like when we have a guest come on our show, I'll ask one question, maybe two. I try to kind of establish the energy of the show, or the energy of the interview, and then I allow the other guys to interact with the guests because I want to sit back and listen to where they take it, and based on the responses, then I'll know where I want to take it. So I would say, if anything, I'm more of a reactive interviewer or reporter or journalist, if you will.
In boxing, you have to talk a lot. You have to kind of sell yourself. You do a lot of interviews. You have to sell the fight.
Yeah.
How much of an influence did all of that experience, do you think, have on kind of your presentation style on the podcast?
A lot, actually, a lot. It was. I believe in God, and I just believe that God has worked right on time in my life. I started doing the commentary consistently in 2018, and that was right as I was kind of coming into my own, understanding my personality, understanding what I wanted to present to people on TV and in the interviews, so on and so forth. But then when you take a look at being on TV with Fox and things like that, they help mold the personality that I have, the nature of myself. They molded it, and they said, "You can do more. Give us more." And it was like, okay, so I can do more there. That means when I do a boxing interview, I can do more there too. So it really went hand in hand, where I was learning a lot uh, in front of the camera, and then I was just taking that over to the boxing world and really just kind of expanding who I was as a fighter. And it really happened right on time because I started to see how effective promoting could be for a fighter. I started understanding how effective social media could be and all that. And so it kind of all happened like right on time for me.
What about acting? I know you've done some acting. I think you mentioned that you also have an acting coach. How often do you find yourself dipping into that skill set when it comes to fight commentary and the podcast?
Um, a lot, actually. And definitely on the podcast, it's become so natural to me now to just kind of do things and say things that I wouldn't normally do or say, based on me understanding, like, hey, here's a chance to have fun. And essentially that's really why I wanted to get into acting. I knew it was going to be fun, and I knew that I could do it. And it's kind of like, that complex that we have as fighters. We always want to challenge ourselves. So sure enough, I kind of proved myself right. Don't mean to toot my own horn, but I can do that thing, man. I can act, and I can kind of pop in and pop out and kind of get into characters and things like that. And
I,
it's
I've
a
seen
lot
some
of
of
fun.
the I've seen some of the clips. You do all right. Yeah, you do
It's
decent.
it's been a lot of fun, man. But the funny thing is, like, when we're on, like when I do live television, there may be a moment where they may want me to do something, and it just kind of like it's like a freestyle of what I would do in the acting world, kind of being Sean, but kind of being Sean in a space that people it's gonna wow people, and that's why I call myself Showtime, man. I love wowing people. I love entertaining people.